Hey, I'm Rob Steller. I am a 35-year-old male. Identify as a dad, a gamer, and a creator. I'm a senior product manager currently at a company called NAC, which provides college students with a platform to become or get tutoring. And I've been developing products for about 15 years. I've always had an interest in technology, especially when it comes to games. And I didn't really get into coding until my mid 20s or so. I've always been interested in it, and it's always appealed to me, but never actually got my hands dirty and started coding until later in my career. In my current role, I'm not doing any coding personally. Although that said, I work very closely with engineers, and having a background in that part of engineering allows me to better communicate, more efficiently communicate with the engineers and help collaborate with them when we're designing new features to build out. Yeah, so I got interested in learning how to code when I had started a business around gamifying grades in the classroom. And that ultimately failed. And the developer I was working with ended up abandoning the project. So that led to me deciding I'm not going to let that happen again. So I started teaching myself how to program. I first primarily used all free resources. Uh, Started with Channel 9, which is a platform that Microsoft hosts to develop Windows apps. And then off of that, learned a platform called Xamarin, which basically lets you use a code called C# to target both Android and iOS. And that led me to be able to develop mobile apps on my own. The advice I'd give to students today is just learn as much as you can. I mean, as soon as you feel like you may have an interest in a particular topic or field, there's so many good resources online that you could do yourself. The other big thing is start networking. It's never too early to start networking. Reach out to anybody in your community through your teachers, through your families, and friends and things like that. If you have anybody who's related to the fields you might be interested, just to hear about what their day-to-day looks like. And also you can look at online communities too, and reach out through social media and through other platforms, people who are already working in the field, and reach out and see if you can learn more about what they do. Yeah, so typically in a day in the life as a product manager, the primary goal is to reach out to your users of whatever product that you're selling, and figure out what their biggest pain points are, what they want the most out of your products, and then figure out how to solve those problems. So once you figure out what those pain points are, working with designers, working with engineers, and other creative people in your company to figure out the best ways to try to solve that problem. As a senior PM, I'm also responsible for defining the vision of our product. So we are building the roadmap and defining all the features that we're creating. So like if you take any app on your phone right now, so let's say TikTok, you have the people who are working on the visual side of it, the designers, you have the people who are actually building it, the coders, but you also have a group of people who are responsible for deciding what features are going to come out next. And I think for me, that's probably the most interesting part of the job, is being able to really define what's next for that particular product or app. Yeah, for me, I think the most fun part of the job is that I get to be closer to the users and better understand who they are, what they want, more than anyone else across the company. And then it's also a collaborative effort to find the most creative ways to make an impact on their lives, to make their lives better, and then also to create better outcomes for the business in general. So it's both from the user side and the business side, and how do you make everybody happy? I'm never going back to an office. I love working from home. I think being in tech, in product management specifically, is a role that lends itself well to working remotely. There are definitely considerations with collaboration, with communication on how to effectively work in a remote environment. But a lot of the companies that I've looked at and worked for are now fully remote. And it also provides a lot of opportunities for travel. I have teammates of mine who work at NAC who are in different cities every week. They travel across the country, around the world, and they're able to call in remotely at different hours for them. But this kind of environment is very good for people who like to work flexible hours, who like to travel a lot. And there's also a lot of opportunities within certain companies to meet up in person. So recently, my company did a retreat to Chicago, and then every 6 months or so, we will pick a new city and meet up there. Yeah, as a product manager, I get to work with a lot of different people in a lot of different roles. So working with a very small startup with about 30 people or so, I get to work with the people who founded the company directly. So I get to work with designers who are visually very strong, who have be able to create how people are interacting with the app. I get to work with coders who are actually building it, doing the actual coding. Uh, Data analysts who are working with artificial intelligence and machine learning to try to better understand who our users are and to build better products. I also get to work with project managers who are very organized, who make sure everything is happening on track and under budget. And other product managers, who get to be more on the vision and the strategy side. So I think, within each of those roles, there are certain traits that make them very good at what they do. And I think it's very easy to associate yourself with one of those traits and find a right career path within tech. Yeah, I think struggling with doubt is something that comes with the territory in working in a startup, working in tech. And myself and a lot of people I've talked to all constantly struggle with doubting ourselves. There's a term called imposter syndrome that's all about this. This idea that you're never good enough for the role that you're in. And I want to definitely stress that I think you can be good at the role that you want as long as you commit to continually improving yourself. There are plenty of ways to do that through books, through online courses and communities, through in-person communities, through newsletters. And I think the important thing is to be humble about what you don't know and admit to yourself what you want to work on, what you want to improve. And I think as long as you are always working towards that, then you never have to doubt that you belong where you are. Success to me is all about having a positive impact on people's lives. And I think what's cool about the role of a product manager is that there are so many different industries that you can work in. And a lot of these roles, like engineers and designers, there's a lot of different types of companies that you can work for. And there are a lot of companies who are doing good things for people. So for me, it's all about, are we having the right impact on people? And I think I've been able to be mildly successful in that regard. I think there's always room for improvement, but it's always something that I'm going to keep working at and trying to improve and trying to continue to have a positive impact. All right, that was, man, I'm more nervous about this than like actual job interviews. I'm trying to figure out a way to make this not boring. It's just like it's workflow stuff. It's uh, yeah. All right. I don't like that. That's boring as hell. There's got to be a better way to say this. Oh, I know what I'll say instead. Like, I don't think 20 plus years ago this wasn't a career path. I think that's as apparent as it is now, right? I wish I had something like this when I was younger, because like before having a family and stuff and being able, like, there are people who literally one coworker last job like just moved to Mexico City for a few months and just lived there, and like that's it. That is so cool. I wish I could do something like that, but not anymore. I'm an old man now.